Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 15, Episode 4, The Aftershock. As you know, this is a continuation of Episode 3, so we are at Shannon's housewarming / reel-to-reel foods party. I don't know. I'm still not sure. I think she was introducing like a new line of foods. So this starts off with going over the last couple minutes of the episode before, with things escalating between Gina and Bronwyn to the point where Bronwyn blurts out, "I'm 30 days sober, bitch," tosses her drink, storms off through the kitchen a la Tamra Barney Judge. Was Tamra directing this scene? Maybe. Is that what they offered her? Tamra, next year, we're diminishing your role. To what? Friend of? No, not exactly. We would like you working camera 3. Now everybody's, buzzing about what just happened. And Elizabeth leans over and looks into the pool. Apparently that's where the glass ended up. Elizabeth's like, "Oh, you're going to have to drain this pool." This will come back in a minute, but Kelly tells one of John's sons, "Why don't you go bob for it, kid?" This day is not going well for John's son. First of all, he's wearing a lemon outfit that Shannon picked out for all the kids, her daughters and John's 2 sons and his daughter. She's making them all be servers for this party. So as if that's not bad enough, now Kelly is telling him to go bob for the glass that Bronwyn threw into the pool. I mean, I think she was kidding, but also that is not quite where the bad day ends for Joe. While Gina is yelling at Sean about your wife and blah, 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 and the two of you are waging this campaign against me, Bronwyn is now standing out in front of Shannon's house because she's waiting for Sean. She stormed off. Sean did not follow her, so now she's just standing in front. And Joe happens to come out the front door with a tray of the signature drinks that Shannon has created. And Bronwyn, who is a hot mess at this point, says to him, "Hey, lemonade boy, could you get my husband?" Oh my God. He goes, yeah. Have you guys ever seen that character that Pete Davidson does on Saturday Night Live? It's a kind of a reoccurring character he does. He's always in these situations where like a hot woman is trying to seduce him, or this last time he wound up in a haunted house. And so the ghost was really scary, but no matter what is happening around him, he like has no expression. He's just like, okay. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. That's what Joe does here. Bronwyn is all distressed and, "Lemonade boy, can you get my husband?" And Joe is like, okay. So Lemonade boy goes in and tells Sean, "Bronwyn's out in front, she wants you." And Gina goes, "Yeah, it's time to check on your wife." And he goes, "I am going to check on my wife." And Gina's like, yeah, go do it. Go check on her. "I am going to check on her." "Yeah, go check on her." But he doesn't go check on her. He stops and talks to Elizabeth, who said, "She doesn't really have a problem, does she?" Elizabeth, I'm trying to get my Elizabeth voice. And Ben and Ronnie, Watch What Crappens, all hail to them because they do every voice so well. They're doing her with a real kind of a southern voice. It's so funny, but it isn't exactly her. But I feel like what they have right is that she gets a little bit of her hillbilly twang that comes out every once in a while, but also combined with sounding a little like Cher. Maybe. "She doesn't really have a problem, does she?" And Sean goes, "Well, I mean, yeah, she does. But she wasn't really ready for it to get out." And Elizabeth said, "Well, it's out now. But this is good because now we can support her." Oh, yes. Can't you just feel the love for Bronwyn? Gina hates her. Shannon hates her. The ladies are talking about her throwing the glass in the pool. Kelly says, I don't think she should have thrown a glass with children around. Right. Kelly, you know how Kelly is always concerned about there being children in her presence. Kelly, were the children around when you met Shannon's dad? You know, Big Dick Daddy from Cincinnati? Oh my God, you guys, this is so good. This is such a good episode so far. We're literally like 3 minutes in, and I don't want to miss telling you about anything. So now the kids are together, meaning like Shannon's daughters and John's kids. And Stella, don't ever lose your snark, girl. Stella says to Joe, what happened out there? And Joe goes, Bronwyn called me Lemonade Boy and told me to get her husband. and it was either his sister or I think Sophie that said, don't let her talk to you like that. Stella, are you fucking kidding me? Stella. Oh my God, Stella, you are and will always be my favorite Bador. Do not change a thing. Oh, I just checked. We are literally just 2.5 minutes into the episode. Okay, so now Sean goes out in front and Bronwyn has started to walk home. So he kind of chases her down the street and they're talking now. And she's yelling, I didn't want it to go this way. I didn't think it was going to be this bad. I didn't want them to know this way. And he said, you let her control the conversation. We need to go back and just talk to Gina alone. And then Bronwyn says what I think may go down in history as one of the most iconic housewife lines ever. Why would I go back into that den of fucked up women? I mean, is there a better description of Housewives in general? Like the whole franchise? If you were forced to describe the show in 10 words or less to somebody who had never seen any Real Housewives shows, you could do worse than Den of Horrible F***ed Up Women. Just saying. Oh. Bronwyn and Sean go back to Shannon's house. I know. Then Sean goes in and asks Gina to please go out on the front porch and talk to Bronwyn. She reluctantly agrees, but Emily and Elizabeth and, I don't know, some dark-haired woman, who's she? They went out there first to talk to Bronwyn, and then finally Gina comes out, and then they go back in so that those two can talk alone. Bronwyn looks a mess, you guys. Like, I'm not even sure she has makeup on, but she's like, her nose is all red from crying. Like, she is genuinely, constantly wiping tears. This looks real to me. And I am oddly drawn to her like an injured puppy. I want to hug her. I want to tell her it's going to be okay. She starts off by apologizing for her behavior to Gina. She says she got out of hand and she's ashamed. But she wishes that Gina wouldn't have gone to other people and talked to them about Sean's text out of context. And Gina's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And she said, well, you didn't mention that he got you an Uber. And basically he was just checking to see that you got home okay. Gina, who cares about an Uber? I wasn't objecting to him checking up on me. It was the Bronwyn's passed out, but I got her to the condo anyway. And then the winky face. That was creepy. Bronwyn says, I wish you would have just brought that up to me then and not Tamara and Emily. And Gina is defending the fact that she got a weird text and it was A-okay for her to talk to her best friend about it. This conversation's not going well. Bronwyn now is yelling at her saying, it's your problem if you think my husband checking up on you is weird. Gina's like, okay, this conversation's not going anywhere. So she gets up and goes into the house. Bronwyn follows her into the house because now Sean's back in the party, hanging out with the guys and stuff. It's just so weird, you guys. Gina, Elizabeth, Emily, and Shannon are doing tequila shots now. Bronwyn, It is sad. She's kind of just standing behind them and, she can't join in the tequila shots, of course. So then she grabs Kelly and has her sit down and talk with her. And Kelly's like, "What is your problem?" Bronwyn tells her basically that she's 30 days sober and she wants to drink so bad it hurts. So Kelly goes, "Well, here, you want some tequila?" She does break the ice and they do start laughing. And Kelly said, "Nobody likes a quitter." Bronwyn appreciates that Kelly is just treating her normally. That's how she wants to be treated. So Bronwyn says, she's had enough and she's ready to go home. And she asks Kelly if she'll go in and get Sean for her. And Kelly says, okay, but not before Kelly asks Sean, "So did Shannon really say it about Gina's house, that it was sad?" And Sean goes, "She did. She said it in front of me." So Sean and Bronwyn start walking home. I forget that they're only like a block away, which then makes me think Bronwyn could have just gone home the first time. She didn't have to stand outside and wait for Sean, right? Anyway, they're walking home. And side note, who puts a basketball hoop here? It's like in the parkway. It was probably moved out of the driveway, but still, it was an odd place to have it. Back at the party, Kelly now tells Shannon that Sean said that he heard you say it, and Shannon is just, "I'm flipping over it." While Bronwyn is now at home taking off her shoes and oversharing with one of her children about how the party went. I know she's one of the older kids, this is Rowan, but she's still a teenager and she's still your kid. I don't like when they treat their children like friends or adults. Anyway, while that's going on, the rest of the ladies are getting naked wasted. Fun Shannon and Fun Emily are both there to play. Shannon takes them on a little house tour of her new place, and Gina's like, "There is nothing sad or depressing about this house. It's beautiful, and it's huge." And then she takes her to her home gym. And before they go in, she said, "Now, I'm not a narcissist or anything, but..." And they go in, and there is an obscenely large mural of Shannon's face, like a painting of it, that pretty much covers one entire wall. Then we're back to Bronwyn's, and she's crying and sad. And then we're back to the party where everything's lively and fun and drinking. And Bronwyn's house, sad and no drinking. And they're heading to a AA meeting. Side note, last week I felt sorry for Shannon's dad because Kelly was inappropriate with him. But now he's kind of hitting on her, and it's unpleasant for me. So I take back feeling bad for you, sir. Okay, it's the next morning. We are at Kelly and Rick's place. Rick, I don't know what's going on with him. He's in between. I guess the gist of this was that he is actually looking to transfer from New York. He's a Fox News correspondent, and he's looking to work full-time at the LA bureau. Kelly... God, you guys, something's wrong with Kelly. I don't know. She has to keep telling us, "Rick and I bang every day. It's off the charts." You're 45 years old. I don't know. Is she 45? Something like that. She's in her 40s, right? It's weird. I'm not sure what it means. Are we supposed to be impressed by it? Are we supposed to be jealous? I don't know. It makes me a little... sad for her. I am not slut-shaming whatsoever. I just think it's oddly excessive how much she talks about it. Okay, we learned that Gina and Matt have a court date coming up soon. Now that Gina has Travis, she's cool with Matt and Britt. I guess, was Britt the woman he cheated on her with? I think maybe, and they're together now. Britt has a daughter who goes to the same school as Gina's kids. So they're like one big happy family now, except that Matt abuses women. So there's that one little fact that we are not discussing right now. All she said was that Britt calms Matt down, so she actually likes that he's with Britt now. Another relationship area that doesn't feel super healthy to me. But it's Sienna's birthday coming up. That's their daughter. And she has invited Matt and Britt to come to the party. So she tells him, that's my olive branch. We get to hear his voice for the first time on the phone. I don't know if he doesn't work for that same job or whatever the deal was, where his image couldn't even be seen in a photograph. Do you guys remember that? So I think we're actually going to see him in upcoming episodes, but we hear his voice on the phone too. Okay, so then Emily comes over to Gina's house and they're talking, and then I guess they're gonna go shopping. Emily tells her that she actually had fun at Shannon's house, and she said, yeah, and she put me on the group text. So Gina high-fives her, and in Emily's confessional, she said, there are pigs flying and hell is frozen over because Shannon put me on the group text. Holy crap. She knows my name and my phone number. In the car, they are talking about Bronwyn, of course. Gina actually starts by talking about how there are dishes, and I know when I get home there's going to be more dishes. And she's like, 6 kids. And she goes, I know. And Emily said, well, you don't have 2 nannies either. So then that's a little dig at Bronwyn, who has 2 nannies. And Emily tells Gina, Bronwyn told me that she has 2 nannies because she couldn't take care of her kids because she was drinking. She also tells her that Bronwyn told her that her dad was an alcoholic. And Gina goes, yeah, so was my dad. I guess he's 9 years sober, so that's good. He's a little sweetheart. Although I do think they coddle Gina a little too much, her parents, but I like them. We also check in with Elizabeth and Kelly, who are shopping somewhere, and they're also talking about what else? Bronwyn's drinking. We're cutting back and forth between Elizabeth and Kelly and Gina and Emily. And now Gina tells Emily that Bronwyn texted her that morning and invited her to go to an AA meeting with her and then go for coffee afterward so that they could chat. This is what the text says. Hey, Gina, are you free this Saturday? Wanted to know if you wanted to go to a meeting with me and then grab coffee after. My behavior last week wasn't something I'm proud of, and I'd like the chance to talk one-on-one. Then Gina's reply is, hey, I'd be happy to go with you. I'm not proud of my behavior either, and I think it would definitely be good to talk. Thumbs up emoji. Bronwyn, 2 heart emojis. Then this is where it gets weird. The next thing we see in the thread is Gina's reply, which is, okay, sounds good. I will see you there. Raise the roof hands. Huh? What sounds good? Where are you going to meet her? And what's the raise the roof hands about? So many questions I have, you guys. So this is good because Gina seems to have an understanding that Bronwyn was detoxing and is now having to learn how to process things sober. And she's struggling with it. She said that's the only reason she's giving her a pass. Well, Gina said hall pass, but we know what she meant. Emily, who has a newfound friendship with Shannon, now believes that Shannon did not say that Gina's house was sad. I believe originally she thought that Shannon saying that was entirely possible. Now she doesn't think that. Now she thinks that Shannon might have said that Gina's house was small, and Bronwyn interpreted small to mean sad because in Bronwyn's eyes, small would be sad. Listen, either could be true, but there's something key that I forgot to tell you guys last week. One of you guys pointed it out to me, and I even had it in my notes. I don't know. I skipped over it for some reason. When Bronwyn was telling us that she knew for sure, that she remembers completely that Shannon said Gina's house was sad, that Shannon also told Bronwyn, and if you tell anybody, I will deny it to the ends of the earth. So I originally said that if it was said, Bravo would have showed it to us in a flashback. But that's not necessarily true. These women do actually hang out with each other when filming is not happening. And I think it is possible she could have said it privately when the cameras didn't catch it. Back with Kelly and Elizabeth, Kelly thinks that it wasn't right of Bronwyn to throw Shannon under the bus. Elizabeth in her confessional said, I don't think Bronwyn knows what poor is. I used to live in my car. So when I see Gina working it out, I'm like, hell yeah, girl, get your ass back up. I've noticed that whenever she's talking about her hillbilly past, that accent gets even stronger. But just in case, I'm not sure if you guys knew, Elizabeth used to be poor. Because I think she only mentioned it 700,000 times. So, you might have missed it. At least now I understand what she means by garbage can poor, which is a phrase I had never heard before. Now I know what she means because there were times that her mother would take them to Walmart, guys, and go out back where the dumpsters were, and they would pick out meat and vegetables that weren't rotten, just expired. It's like a Tiger King situation. Oh my God. Well, at least now I know why Bronwyn and Sean are separated in real life. Because they're about to have themselves a good old-fashioned Housewives vow renewal. The nail in the coffin of even the strongest of marriages. I guess at 10 years, they renewed their vows and they decided they would do it every 10 years. So now this is 20. Bronwyn was drunk out of her mind at her 10th. So I don't know why she thinks it's going to be better sober. But so she, I guess, had invited Shannon and John and all their kids. I assume that means Lemonade Boy. But now she's going to call Shannon to make sure they're still coming. Sean, the most obtuse man ever. Well, I don't know why they wouldn't. They were coming. Really? You don't know why they wouldn't be coming now? I mean, like, you don't even have a guess as to why Shannon wouldn't want to come? So Shannon answers the phone, and Bronwyn starts by apologizing profusely and telling her she is mortified by her behavior at Shannon's party. But she would like to move forward, and understanding that that might take some time, in the meantime, she would still like for her and John and their kids and Lemonade Boy to come to their vow renewal. Shannon, I would never say that Gina's house was sad. And, you know, Bronwyn, I felt privileged that you shared with me about your addiction. And I cared about you and I wanted to support you because I am a good friend. But I am also a good friend to Gina. So I don't know why you would say that I said such a horrible thing. Bronwyn said, well, I wanted to hurt Gina, which is why I said it. And also, I heard you say it. I love that she's sticking to her guns, which kind of makes me think Shannon said it. Shannon, but you didn't hear it correctly, Bronwyn, because I didn't say it. Bronwyn's like, okay, so I can't say that I didn't hear you say it, because I did, but let's move forward somehow. How are you going to move forward, Bronwyn? Shannon's like, I was so supportive. And Bronwyn's like, yeah, you were, and I appreciate it. You got me to go to my first AA meeting, and I will be forever grateful for that, Shannon. But I need to own my truths, and apparently Shannon's truths, because that's all I have right now. It sounds like an AA thing, step one, maybe. Shannon's like, well, if you and Sean are going to continue on your crusade to besmirch my name... No, I don't know what she said exactly. Bronwyn said, no, there's no crusade. I'm good never mentioning it again, which I'm glad she said that because it's like she doesn't have to keep saying it over and over again. However, she's not going to deny that Shannon said it. Oh, Shannon calls her out on the Lemonade Boy comment. She's like, you want John's kids there, but, you know, you called him Lemonade Boy. Bronwyn. This is the best response. Bronwyn's like, I didn't know he was John's kid, and he had a shirt with lemons on it. Okay, fair enough. Lemonade Boy. They hang up. I'm not sure how it ended. I don't know if Shannon is going to the vow renewal or not. But Sean comes back in the room, and Bronwyn's like, she is so convincing. I think she believes she didn't say it. Okay, over at Kelly's house now, Emily comes over. She offers Emily a drink, and she said, yeah, what do you have? And she makes this drink with one of her positive beverages, the cucumber one, which think that was my surprise favorite. It was kind of refreshing. I liked it. So she's making a drink with that and vodka, which sounds really good to me. I might have to try that. But then that means I would have to buy more positive beverage. And I'm not in the mood to support Kelly Dodd right now, so I guess not. Anywho, she makes the drink and then she takes a sip of it. And Emily's like, was that supposed to be for me? And Kelly goes, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. And she's kind of like wiping off the glass and she goes, I don't have cooties. I don't have the coronavirus. Okay. Here we go, guys. This is the first mention of coronavirus. In Kelly's confessional, she says, I don't understand why everybody's freaking out about coronavirus. It's like H1N1 or the swine flu. Things like that happen from time to time. Okay. So the question is, when did she film this confessional? I mean, I would say it has all the earmarks of being done after the shutdown because, you know, harsh lighting, check. Wonky makeup, check. Bad green screen in the background, check. So I'm going to assume it was after most of us already knew that this was not like the flu. Anyway, talk moves to Bronwyn, of course. And Kelly said, I think she was better drunk. And Emily goes, I just said that today. Gee, you mean you guys have more fun with Bronwyn at a party when she's drinking than when she's detoxing? No kidding. I don't know. They're now talking about how they think she exaggerates everything. I'm disagreeing with them here because I think she's acting very real to me. I don't know. It seems really authentic. In any case, she calls again, just like she did when Gina and Emily were talking about her in that bar. And then she texted Emily. Well, in the middle of this conversation, she calls Kelly and she asks her, she's home and she goes, oh, I'm here with Emily. And she goes, we were going to stop by. Maybe Kelly invited them to stop by. And she said, okay, we'll be there in a few minutes. So they talk about how Sean is like glued to her side. Wherever Bronwyn goes, Sean goes, I guess. And then we see them getting on a bike, one bike together. I think it's an electric bike though. You guys, side note, I want an electric bike. One that's like power assist because my husband's an avid bike rider and I cannot keep up with him. I can't. But I would like to go on longer bike rides with him and stuff like that. So if I could just stop pedaling whenever I wanted, I think that would be perfect. They get there and they have a little gift for her, a little housewarming gift. And it's a mezuzah. You hang it in the doorway, like on an angle. And I don't know that much about it. And I'm half Jewish, but I never learned any of these things. According to Bronwyn, and you guys, did we know that Sean and Bronwyn were Jewish? I don't remember that. Anyway, according to Bronwyn, it is part of the Torah, and so you come in the house and you kind of touch it and kiss it, and it, blesses you or the house or something. So Kelly opens it and she goes, oh, side note, if you didn't know, Rick is Jewish. So Kelly goes, it's a menuzah. Now, I think she might be combining mezuzah and menorah. Bronwyn gently corrects her and says mezuzah, and she goes, menuzah. Again, Bronwyn, mezuzah. Kelly's not entirely sure what it is, but she kind of gets it. And then Sean goes and hangs it up for her. So Emily and Kelly, are kind of grilling Bronwyn a little bit. Emily's like, why did you tell Gina that Shannon said that about her house? And Bronwyn said, because I wanted to hurt Gina. And I was a real jerk. I was mean and cruel, and I need to apologize to her. I actually asked her if I could meet her in person, and it's because I need to apologize to her. And Emily's like, okay, so it was like you just wanted it to be like, well, I see, I'm not the only one that says things about Gina. Shannon said something mean too. And she's like, yeah, it was wrong of me. And Emily's like, that makes me feel better about you. And you do need to talk to her because Gina wasn't going to go to Palm Springs. I guess that's where the vow renewal is going to be. And then we end this episode at Shannon's house. She's sitting with John in their backyard, and she's whining to John about how I almost cried after I hung up the phone with Bronwyn. She's sticking to her lie. Well, one of them is sticking to a lie. I just don't know if it's Bronwyn or Shannon. Anyway, that is it for this week. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been such a rough week for us in the U.S. We still don't know who our president will be. And I have been so obsessively watching all the election results coming in, and it's not healthy. It is not good for me. But I'm sure I'm not alone. I'm sure a lot of you guys are also feeling very anxious right now. By the time you see this, we should know, but at the time of this filming, still a lot of uncertainty. So bad, you guys, that I had to watch a Hallmark movie. Like, I needed this sappy comfort. I do like to watch some of the Christmas ones. This one was called Sweet Autumn. So bad. Oh my God, it was so bad. It's your typical, the girl lives in the city with a high-powered job. She has to go back to her hometown, which is a quaint little idyllic town that's decorated perfectly for whatever holiday is coming up. This is autumn, so everything is just beautiful red and orange and yellow leaves, and such a sweet little town. She usually has to come home for some reason. In the holiday movies, it's Christmas. This time it was for the reading of the will of her aunt, who left her a candy shop. Oh, but not just her. She gave her half of the candy shop, and the other half goes to a very handsome, inexplicably available man that lives in the town. Well, I could go on, but if you guys want me to recap that, it was insane. It was so bad. But it also it was like, gave my mind a rest, if that makes sense. It was just like a fun little thing to comfort myself with. That's what it is. It's like comfort food. So anyway, I'm just giving all of you guys a big hug. With the pandemic and the economy constantly causing stress in our lives, we now have this added layer of the uncertainty of our country's future. So yeah, that's fun. I'm giving you guys all a virtual hug, and I hope this little recap was just a little bit of comfort food for you guys. All right, if you haven't already, please give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and I will see you next week for the next recap of The Real Housewives of Orange County. Bye. Love you guys.